The Harivamśa Purana, Chapter 14, Kamsa'S Fears. With the death of Keshi, Kamsa was both furious and terrified. Keshi was one of his most prized monsters. No one dared to meddle with the tyrant of Mathura, as they feared the wrath of Keshi. With Keshi slaughtered, and that too supposedly by an infant, the whole of Mathura was now in threat. No other demon or ogre was willing to face the child in Vrindavana. The death of Arishta was a blow to Kamsa's sense of security, and he had been training day and night for the eventual calamity that awaited him. Kamsa would spend hours in his gymnasium strengthening his body with his eyed and confidant Chanura. He would have nightmares about the eighth child when he sleeps, and so he rarely slept properly. Always thinking about his kingdom, he would frequently wake in the middle of the night with sweaty palms and pulsing nerves, having dreamt the mighty Mahavishnu on a flying eagle with the deadly discus spinning on his top right arm. One particular night, having yet another nightmare from the child of Devaki and Vasudeva, he leapt from his bed and started pacing. Both his wives, Asti and Prapti, who slept on either side, attempted to comfort the terrible tyrant. "Dearest husband, you are the Lord of Mathura. Why, even Indra, the mighty celestial warrior, fears your wrath. Come, let us comfort you in our arms. We will lull you into a deep sleep." "Do not fear," said Asti, the first wife. "What Asti says is true, Lord of Mathura. Come to bed. We will comfort you to sleep," said Prapti. But it was not enough. The terrible nightmare Kamsa had was enough to keep him alert and devoid of sleep. "Dearest wives, please go back to the bedchambers and fall into deep sleep. My fate is sealed. There is no hope for me now," said the tyrant of Mathura. There was a finality in his tone, as Kamsa seems to be accepting defeat. "You are the Lord of Mathura, the mighty controller of demons. Indra himself is terrified to do battle with you. What, then, is a little child before you?" asked Prapti. "Yes, my lord, you are the very definition of the word mighty. Fear not, and come into bed with us. Let us comfort you," said Asti as she caressed his left arm. The warmth of a woman's touch seems to have done the trick, and Kamsa somehow managed to reach his bedchamber and lulled himself into a good sleep. The very next day, Kamsa called all the vassal kingdoms which paid him tribute and had them seated in a circular format, with him in the center and his trusted-eyed Chanura right next to him. The countless nights of no sleep, the constant fear of the eighth child, and the demons which began to question his authority had finally gotten to him. "Gentlemen, kings and demons, you are all equal in strength to Indra himself. You are equal in spiritual prowess to some of the greatest sages in the land, and yet, indeed, your magnificence outshines that of many fiefdoms and kingdoms within the land. And yet, there is but one thorn in my rosebud. There is a little boy many miles north of Mathura who defied and continues to defy me. I have lost many warriors and some of my prized servants at this boy's hands. I do not consider him to be a little boy. No, he is either a powerful god in the guise of a little boy or an offspring of a god," said Kamsa with a modicum of respect. "This boy, known as Krishna, was secretly coveted from my kingdom in infancy and transported to the village of Gokula. Here he performed great feats of superhuman strength. He culled with effortless ease some of the most potent demons and witches in my arsenal. The witch Putana, famed for infanticide, was killed by him while he lazily supped from her breast. He slaughtered Keshikasura and Trinavarta with spectacular ease. he drove away the king of serpents with his might, and using his yogic prowess, he held up a mountain and then faced the onslaught of the celestial king Indra himself. In his youth, he has playfully slaughtered demons like Keshi and Arishta, who have slaughtered entire armies with ease. Now, the question I ask you is, how is he still alive? Especially as he has marked me to execution. Are you not my tributaries, my vassals? Inquired Kamsa. My lord and armor of Mathura, said one of the chiefs, you are indeed invincible and have subdued us with your prowess. When you mention that powerful ogres and demons have failed to slaughter our common foe, then what chance have we? He said. Your Majesty, said Chanura, that boy grows stronger by the day. We should have slaughtered him in his infancy, and now he is already at the bright age of 12, and as each day passes, his strength grows. It is thus best we put an end to him once and for all by our own hands. My advice is to bring him here to Mathura, and we will kill him in front of a huge crowd. That way, the whole world will cower before your might and prowess. You are the very manifestation of might. You can, with effortless ease, destroy this child who dares to defy you, he said. The rest of the chiefs all agreed wholeheartedly, while Kamsa nodded. Yes, there is no need to continue growing his prowess, fame, and reputation. We might as well put an end to the insolent lad, said Kamsa to the agreeable nods of the other chiefs. Your Majesty, are you not afraid of your death? Asked Akrura, a prince who paid tribute to Kamsa's capital. Akrura was a prince of a nearby city under the rule of Kamsa. He regularly paid tribute to King Kamsa. Akrura, however, was an ardent devotee of the great god Mahavishnu, though he practiced his devotion secretly lest the tyrant decided to slaughter him for disloyalty. Akrura, your love for your king is duly noted. But fear not, I will be protected in my kingdom with armies of men loyal to me. There is no way a 12-year-old child will pose any danger to me, for I am curious how this child of Devaki has managed to live all these years without my consent, said Kamsa with a taint of haughtiness in his tone. Yes, your Majesty, to even consider this insolent lad stands a chance against you surmounts to treason, spoke Chanura, as he glared at Akrura, to which the rest of the vassal kings nodded in agreement. You are right, Chanura, but how do we bring him out of hiding? The wretched creature fled my kingdom the second it was born. Now, how will we trick him to come back to Mathura? Asked Kamsa. Your Majesty, declare a great sacrifice of the bow is to be performed in your kingdom, and request everyone in your kingdom to attend. Ensure that you request the boy Krishna to attend from the village of Vrindavana. Make this an order. This will bring him to our kingdom, where we will be waiting to slaughter him, said Chanura with a smile. Kamsa nodded in agreement. Akrura, you can go personally and invite the lad. Tell him to attend as a representative of Vrindavana, ordered Kamsa. Me? My lord, I stammered Akrura. Do not defy me, Akrura. Go and bring this wretch, so that I may permanently put an end to him, instructed Kamsa. Akrura had no choice. He bowed deeply and quickly left the hall, not wanting to risk Kamsa's fury to grow further. Akrura paced up and down his bedchamber. He did not want to be the cause for the end of the god incarnate. He is just a little boy. What chance does he have against the mighty tyrant of Mathura? He thought to himself. Oh, why me? Fie on fate. I will be known in history as the monster who called the god incarnate to his doom, he lamented, and sat in depression. He then considered his options. He briefly thought of fleeing the kingdom and seeking shelter in the neighboring kingdom of Panchala or Kuru. But there is no certainty that he will be protected. And worse, what if the king hands him over to Kamsa in fear? Thoughts like these circled his mind repeatedly. As such thoughts settled under the weight of the mighty task ahead of him, he decided not to move but instead be killed by Kamsa. At that time, a blinding flash of light engulfed the bedchamber, and, to his surprise, the sage Narada stood before him. Akrura folded his palms and bowed before him. "O Akrura, do not hinder the progress of fate. Fate has decided you to be its messenger. Now go and call the god incarnate of Mahavishnu to take part in the festival of bows organized by the tyrant of Mathura," commanded Narada. "O mighty sage, he is just a boy, a little child. He will be slaughtered by Kamsa," argued Akrura. "Do as commanded. This is the will of fate. Do not falter in your duty," commanded Narada. Akrura bowed his head while folding his palms together. "I do not understand. Why would Akrura hesitate? Has he not heard of the great god Mahavishnu's feats? Has he not understood that Lord Krishna is not an ordinary child? Why hesitate?" asked the king Janamejaya. "My king, faith is a complex emotion. Yes, he fully understood that Lord Krishna was a potent and powerful deity. He also knew that Lord Krishna was none other than Mahavishnu himself, yet his love for his god made him apprehensive," said the Rajaguru Vaishampayana. "I see. So what happens next? How does the Lord defeat King Kamsa?" asked Janamejaya. "That is something you need to wait for the next episode of the Harivamśa," said the Rajaguru Vaishampayana.
I hope you liked today's episode of The House of Kuru. If you have not already, please subscribe to this channel and like this video so that you will be notified every time a new video is uploaded. Thank you.